Hello everybody, welcome back to AI War Fleet Command. We have gone through 4 games so far and we have lost one half. See if we're any more successful here. Of course, we're doing the Light of the Spire, the Fallen Spire campaign, the first alternate victory condition. Pretty special one. So let's take a look at what we've got going on. With our previous game, we didn't get any achievements. It was by a significant margin. Decent margin anyway, still our best score. So I think it's interesting that I have lost the 2 games in which the game thought I did the best, winning on difficulty 5 and winning with the easy golems, losing on 7.0 and then 7.6. And then if we slide across here, my kill ratio, it actually was a little bit longer than a couple of my games, which I didn't think it was going to take nearly that long at the beginning. Our kill ratio was not as good. Even with the warheads, they made things difficult on us. Total kills was, again, surprisingly high. But no achievements. So let's get into our Spire game here. I'm going back to 80 planets here. And I want to just take a look at a standard map for this. I'm going to go on realistic, but there are some new map types. We've got the grid, which, okay. There's a crosshatch, which is diagonal according to the grid as well. I don't find maps like that to be all that interesting. Then we got some crazy maze type ones. Interesting options, but I'm not the kind of player that I'll probably ever use those. I'm going to switch back to realistic. We'll just randomly pick a new map and stick with that one. We're going to go to a random planet. We're not going to select one of those specifically. But then there's also a new campaign type. These defender ones are totally different. Basically, your goal is to survive for a certain amount of time. You get a bunch of planets. You get constant AI waves, and how constant they are depends on the time limit that you set. You get extra knowledge. They're just weird and different. I've never actually played any of those. Do one of those next after this game just to show what it's like in the defender game. But right now, we're doing the Fallen Spire. So we're going to stick with the same ship setup. Core shield generators, no point in those in this one because we're actually not going to be going after destroying the AI homeworlds. The end condition is different than that. All I really know about it is you end up in what they describe as a frontal confrontation. The wiki does a really nice job of not spoiling stuff like that if you don't want it spoiled, unless you specifically read articles that have the spoilers in it. We're going to just go and experience that. Now here's our setup. And did the usual random number generation for most of this. We end up with default human resistance fighters, no marauders, no rebellions, no traitors, no miners. I did put the Dyson Sphere back on. I want to give that another shot. See if we can experience that, if it ends up being useful to us. Devour Golem is back, and we've got the regular golems on hard, the broken and the botnet ones. And that's the setting that gives us exogalactic waves. And on hard, they have still the additional intensity. And that's how big the exogalactic waves are. I'm just going to stick with the default, so we just get the default experience of that setting. And then we didn't see the Neinzul Rocketry Corps last time. We did see the Preservation Wardens and the Roaming Enclaves. But in one of those really unusual things, these both graded out as a 10. So we're going to be seeing a ton of Preservation Warnings and a ton of Roaming Enclaves. I think overall, the Enclaves ended up being actually a benefit to us because the Allies ones were able to protect and they hung around. The Preservation Wardens didn't, though. And we're going to really need to make sure that we're prepared, I think, defensively early in the game in case any of these Enclaves hit us right away. And of course, this is the Fallen Spire, the campaign. It says minor factions, something is misnomer. Enabling this opens up nothing short of a whole new way to play the game. If you pursue the goals it sets before you, it's much more like a scripted campaign and allows more frontal military confrontation of the AI than the standard game. You choose how far to pursue the campaign events, and you face the consequences of those choices. But followed all the way through, this leads to an alternate way to win, if you survive. And again, it's the intensity of the resistance, I'm assuming. And we're going to go with the standard 4. Spire Civilian Leaders is an interesting one because some, especially advanced players, they like to use this as a different way to boost AI progress. So we get Civilian Leader Outposts, and they're going to boost 10 AI progress every hour against their will. You can destroy them, or you can free the planets by capturing the planet themselves, and when they're freed, they'll decrease AI progress. So because of that, I still have auto AI progress on, but I have it on a much lower level, only 1 every 15 minutes or 4 per hour. And so what's going to happen is at the beginning of the game, our AI progress, when you combine the civilian leaders with our auto, AI progress is going to go up a little bit faster than it has been. But if we can capture a bunch of these, then it will actually not be going up at all, or be, dropping or staying stable. And then there's Spirecraft. At least in general, this is similar to the golems, but they're smaller. They're between starship and golem size. And it says there's 6 asteroids seeded around the galaxy, 6 types of asteroids. You've got to mine these asteroids using a special Spire mining ship, and then you can use the resources you get there to build Spirecraft. But you cannot repair these, and they have a considerable energy cost. And the developer has said on this that they intended this to be the only available option, but then people wanted more, so they included the easy and the hard, which are the same as the ones for the golems. On the easy one, it just gives it to you, the AI isn't benefited in any way, and on the hard one, you get the exogalactic waves. But the not being able to repair them is a little bit of an interesting wrinkle as compared to the golems. So I'm just going to use the default setting here. No point in putting on the hard for this one, I don't think, because I would just add to the exo waves that we're already going to get. And I took off all the other stuff here except for schizophrenic. And, nuclear commands off, cross-planet waves off. The focus for this game is going to be on the Fallen Spire campaign, so I didn't want to do a bunch of other stuff. And we got kind of lucky with our generation of AI plots. I totally skipped Avenger because, again, if you're not going after AI homeworlds directly, which it appears to be the case, why have that on? Only got 1 for hybrid hives here. We've got no astro trains on that side, just warp relays. And on this side, we've got a very small astro train and a fairly small advanced hybrid. And that's really it. Now, there's this beachhead thing here, which, again, I didn't want to mess up the Spire campaign with it, because these suck. Each wave the AI sends has 10% chance of being half-size, but includes a beachhead that knocks out your supply, which means knocks out turrets and force fields and pretty much anything else but your ships. So you'd have to have a defensive fleet around to deal with waves, or you'd end up getting messed up. And this is, that sounds particularly nasty and difficult. And I didn't want to throw that in with the Spire, even though this is, part of the Light of Spire expansion. I just didn't want to mess with that. With our AI opponent types now, and I'm picking the Spire types, even though, first of all, as we're going up to 8, we're now into the hard territory. And the thing about level 8 is that it's a key point in progressing up through the game. I would sort of describe it as semi-pro, if you will. The developers have said that most of the people who have played AI were veterans who've got like a few hundred hours with the game. Level 8 is the most common level they play on. And it's also, there is some edge case management stuff that the AI improves in terms of how it handles situations between level 7 and 8, but after 8, there's nothing. Like, the gloves are totally off now. They've been mostly off since level 7, but they're totally off in terms of the intelligence. In terms of the economics, of course, it will keep getting worse and worse, and that's why you would move up from level 8 to level 9 or 10 or wherever you can get to. 10? Not likely. Okay, so I'm going to go with the Spire Hammer and the Crafty Spire to do the Spire type of AIs. And the Spire Hammer adds a Spire ship to each wave. How much fun will that be? And then the Crafty Spire actually has Spirecraft on its planets, which is super great. So we'll either need our own Spirecraft or sufficient force to counteract that. So, this is, and the red ones here, it's the first one I've used, they're the technologist types, and they're generally considered to be harder even than, these are the normal hard types, none of which we've seen before. And then the Crafty Spire is one of the red technologist types. Random harder non-technologist would have been the other option. I'll probably go with that next game so we can see some of these other things. But these tend to be more difficult ones, more difficult AI level to begin with. And then we've got more difficult types of subpersonalities. So combine that with the Fallen Spire campaign itself, and I think I'm going to have plenty to deal with. Okay, and we are paused at the beginning here. I don't see anything new. Thought there might be a message at the beginning. There is no message yet. So something will obviously happen. We've got 4 systems nearby. Let's see where we are in the general galaxy. Okay. That's where we're looking. We may be able to use this as a choked off point if these are decent systems. Looks like that would be a nice choke point there, covering a bunch of different areas. We got this long stretch over here where we could potentially have some interesting things going on. Of course, we don't know where the AI are, but we do have all of our wormhole jumps available to us. We've got normal buildings. I don't see anything new. Okay, so what do we want to do with our tech? I think I'm going to go back to Old Faithful and just go with the logistics. Doesn't look like there's any more automatically new stuff. And our extra ship is the MLRS. Could be better, could be worse. Oh, I got to unpause here to get my knowledge. There we go. So there's Logistics Station Mark II. And then one of the things that came up in the first Golem game is that with the need to repair the Golems, it might be useful to go boost the metal harvesters, because they're not usually worth the knowledge. So I'm going to consider doing that, but I definitely want my defensive stuff. I want my Tachyon beam emitter. I want my Mark 1, Mark 2 grav turrets. I want my spiders. Gets us down to 2,500. And I think that's what I'm going to start with. Just work on the usual setting up of defenses. We're going to want probably 2 directions here. I'm not really a big fan of how close that is, but we're going to have to deal with it. I definitely also want the hardened force field. Then I'm going to want to build up and get ready for the opening attacks that we're going to receive. We did get the new journal here. So what happens is I just need to unpause the game. That's how that happened. Okay, we have a subspace signal. Let's take a look at this. Dr. Michael Davidson, Telemetry Lab Home Command to Commander Thetimix. Commander, during a recent routine scan for variations in the AI's warp grid, our personnel detected an abnormal subspace signal near our own planet. Further analysis confirmed that we have no record of similar phenomena. While a survey ship is moderately expensive, we are recommending constructing one to investigate the anomaly in case it may pose a threat to us. Okay, we have a subspace signal anomaly. And it's actually here, it's on this planet. It's cloaked. So we need to construct a survey ship. How do we do that? Well, I'm in the wrong thing. There we go. Those are the Spire mining ships. That's not what we're looking for, though. Those just mine out the asteroids. Yeah, the rest of that's the usual. There we go. Survey ship. So we can build up to 5 of these. It's a specialized science vessel designed for the detection and recovery of spaceborne artifacts. Doesn't produce any knowledge. If you haven't received any reports of abnormal phenomena to investigate, you don't need to build them. Okay, so that's 100k metal, 10k energy. Okay, I do still think I want to get initial defenses up first, but then once that's done, since it's right here on our home planet, I feel like I should deal with that first, rather than going off expanding before I know what's going on. Alright, we've got the initial setup done. We're a few minutes in. We're building our first survey ship. I have unlocked Mark II scout drones, because I know I'm going to at least want those soon. And I did my usual, 20 of each build on the mainline turrets. And we've got 3 tractor beam areas. One's headed toward Eugenia and Cato Media. One of them's headed toward Iris. One of them's headed toward Frizenzen. Now, I did also send a scout out to the nearby systems. Eugenia, Needler Post and 6 metal. Cato Nemoida as an MLRS post and a Special Forces 5 metal. Iris, 3 metal and a missile post. Frozenzen, 3 metal and a sprite shield. That'd take a little more doing. We got a couple pretty good metal ones nearby, and not much resistance, no fortresses, no force fields, which can happen, definitely, on the Mark II planet. So that's a pretty good beginning. But right now, I want to see what's happening with this. You can see we're out of metal. I want to save up more metal before I really do anything else anyway. And it's going to trickle along slowly. Did also build, of course, 10 extra engineers. That's a typical opening thing. Okay. Survey. This ship's going to complete its survey in 5 minutes. Alright. And we've got our first wave coming in. So I think I probably just want to save up metal until that hits. And here's that first wave, and it's got this thing, a Spire frigate, beam weapon attack, 120k every 8 seconds. So that's pretty nice. Immune to tractor beams, etc., etc., and it's just kind of hanging out here. It's not really wanting to come after us. Smallest of the ships, it says, the military Spire ships. And so it's just hanging out here. It's attacking our mines. Is that what it's doing? That's weird. Yeah, our engineers are coming out this way, getting blown up. So they're going to go off and they're going to destroy this. But we're still going to survive the wave eventually. Yeah, I think I'm going to take my engineers off FRD for now. So we have a roaming enclave. That's coming in. And we've got one here. We're going to see a lot of those, I'm sure. Not having any ships to start with is sort of driving this up the wall a bit. Because they're eventually going to get sick of this and they're going to come in and attack. But in the meantime, they're taking out some of our harvesters. A little bit of an annoying early game attack. In the meantime, we are also doing some scouting. We're seeing a lot of Mark IV stuff. This is Sindai over here. There's a couple distribution nodes in here, and also you can see Pisite, Reptite. Those are the asteroids, like this one, that we need to harvest materials from to build the Spirecraft. Then we got V-Date over here is also another Mark IV with an orbital mass driver, just to be fun. Saturn we just explored. Mark I Zenith Reserve, don't really care about that. There's an Astro train station in there. So there appears to be quite a lot of these asteroids all over the place that we need to use to build. In the meantime, our survey is about to complete, which is what I've mainly been waiting for here. And we have another subspace signal. New message from the same Dr. Michael Davidson. Thank you for funding the survey operation. The subspace signal grew more and more unstable, then disappeared altogether. Using the collected data to tune their scanners, our survey team has detected a similar signal in their Utapau. The new anomaly appears to be much stronger, but also even more unstable. We recommend dispatching the survey ship to investigate as quickly as possible. Increased AI warp activity in that area. While this lab cannot issue military recommendations for the sake of our team, I personally request that you carry a very large stick. Okay. Where is Utapau? Right over here. Okay. Well, we're going to want to take Iris eventually, but I think we will wait on that until we're ready. It is only 2 hops away. It's close enough that we can do it after our initial expansion, which I think is probably the way the campaign is designed. It's probably designed so it can't be halfway across the galaxy or on an AI homeworld or whatever. We're going to begin working our way towards that. We've got to see to our immediate defense. Probably be a good idea to build some ships now, take out this frigate, this leech ship, rebuild in here, and start trying to expand along with the continued scouting. So that'll be coming up next time. The Fallen Spire campaign has begun. We're going to work on getting slowly into more of what that's all about. Till then, thanks for watching, everybody, and be back soon.